Thanks for being here on what is tonight, Wednesday night, normally a church night, and so we appreciate y'all being here, and hopefully we can make this a little bit like church. It says where two or three are gathered, there am I in the midst of them, and I heard many people talk about, being believers, and thank you for being here. I'd like to address that before I even go anywhere. I never know what I'm going to say when I start going, because people say, well, you have a canned speech, and I just kind of get up and I speak from my heart. So, did you all meet my wife, Bobby, already? This is my wife, Bobby. She's definitely y'all need to give her a hand. She's definitely she's definitely the better half. When I first ran for office in 2000, they would make fun of me because I ran a bill in 2001 that said, these are the false evidences in our textbooks of evolution. And I was a science and pre-med major in college. So I just wanted to get that information out there, and I said, these are the things that they're saying in our textbooks that even the scientific community themselves have said these are false. These are false evidences. And if you take away those evidences, there's no pillar for evolution. I used to be an evolutionist, but microevolution is observable, it's repeatable, it's the scientific method. Macroevolution, which is transitional life forms, we don't have any of those. And so when I would bring it out, and it was going to be codified, that if any time there was something that came in the textbooks that the scientific community itself had proven to be false, that they had to make a little annotation to the side of the book so the teachers would be able to say, look, this is just accurate information. Well, they turned it into a Scopes monkey trial, and they said that's all I ever wanted to talk about was creation and evolution, which wasn't actually the biggest thing I'm concerned about, is an ever-encroaching government. But let me explain to you why in 2002, 2004, and 2006, I would go around the state. I would ask people in the Republican Party, and you mentioned how to take the Republican Party back earlier. One of the things I would ask them is I would stand up and I would talk to them and I'd say, let me ask you all a question. Who gives you your rights? And it just blank stares. This is in 2006 because the media has totally got us in our mind that God should not even be in our government. And so I would ask people, I'd pull out a dollar bill at the Capitol, and I would ask them, or a coin or a dollar bill, and I'd ask them, I say, you know what, I want to run a bill that says on this dollar, I'd actually pull a dollar, and I said, it says, in God we trust. I want to run a bill if we can put in God we trust on the Capitol, or can we put it on, and they just, oh no, we can't do that. It's like, well, they did it before, what's changed? And so I would ask them, where does your rights come from? And they just look at me, just blank stare. And I said, and this is so foundational, I want you all to catch this, because some people say, oh, well, that's extreme. No, we don't have to push our religion on anybody. The good thing about the Christian religion is that we're tolerant. We're very loving of people. We want people to have their own views. So anyway, I would ask them the question, where do our rights come from? And they would just look at me, and I said, I'll give you a hint. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And when I would say that to them, they would just, well, yeah, I hadn't even thought about it. I said, do you understand that if we continue to remove God out of our society, if we say that our elected officials can't even have a faith of their own, the First Amendment, what does it say? You said earlier about the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment
of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
And that right peaceably assemble, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. I was actually hoping you'd jog my memory. As Congress shall make no law. Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. And the government has gotten to where they just prohibit. And I said, look, I'm not going to force it on anybody, but don't prohibit me from actually practicing mine as well. So when I would ask them about God, I said, if we continue to take God out of our society, then who gives us our rights? And they go, government. And if government's big enough to give you your rights, they're big enough to take them away. And so when I would say that all over the Republican Party, they would just, their eyes would get big, and I would say, Thomas Jefferson, the least founding father, religiously, that's what they say. Thomas Jefferson was one of the most least religious persons, one of the founders of our Declaration, the Declaration 56 million that signed the Declaration of Independence. And he said this, he said, can the liberties, your freedoms, can the liberties of a nation be thought secure when we remove their only firm foundation? He said, what it is? He said, it's a conviction in the minds of the people that these liberties are the gift of God and they are not to be violated but by His wrath. That was Thomas Jefferson. And so we cannot actually have a free country unless we realize that our rights we're born with those rights. It's not something that we get from government. It's something that we're born with. It's something that God gives to us. And so government can never take those away.